today.
Insurance companies often discourage people from getting an attorney. If I can't get you more, even after our fee, then you owe us nothing, not even our costs. I'm Spencer Callahan. I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-12670. Offices in Baton Rouge.
WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers. LA 21-12682. Offices in Baton Rouge. Anytime. Anytime. A daily look at sports from our resident historian. Your sports break during your lunch break. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Here's Charles Hannegriff.
And good afternoon. Welcome into Anytime 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Mario Jerez, Taylor Sharp with you this afternoon. Mike Scarborough here in about 15 minutes. TigerBait.com. We'll talk a little LSU Ole Miss. Dwayne Colucci from Las Vegas, South Point and Rampart. He'll let us know where the action was last weekend, where it's looking coming into this weekend. Not quite the card this weekend that there was last weekend, but there's enough compelling games, including the one right here in Tiger Stadium. So there's plenty to get to with Colucci. I'm also interested in what kind of action we're seeing. I was in the baseball game this afternoon. I was rooting, actually. We were doing the show last night down at Rouge and watching it rain and watching the updates and everything. I was sort of rooting for it to rain out. There's something more significant about a baseball game that is in the postseason that's during the daytime. You know, they've got to kind of compress the schedule a little bit. It's like, hey, listen, this is going to be it made me a little nostalgic because the World Series games used to be played during the day. Now, I'm not old enough to remember the great Yankee teams of the 50s and 60s where, Yogi Berra played in the afternoon or Mickey Mantle played in the afternoon, and, the Yankees would win a game and you could make it home for dinner time. But there is something about it that it's a lot more significant if people are, really keyed into it and it's a day game rather than being played at, I don't know, what would have been probably 1, 2 in the morning because everybody would have fallen asleep on it. There's just something about a daytime baseball game in the postseason that, makes me a little nostalgic. So I'm glad that got moved. And now you got a baseball doubleheader. I know it's football season, but it's Tuesday, right? You can watch the NBA tonight. NBA's starting tonight. For me, the NBA starts tomorrow night when the Pelicans start. Not all that interested in watching the Lakers, but I watched the Warriors a little bit. Most wide open NBA field ever. It's not even a consensus favorite. It's like Celtics, Warriors, Clippers are all kind of across the board. So you want baseball, you got really meaningful baseball. You want basketball, it's opening night. There's something to that. You want football, you got to wait at least one more day. And if you watched last night's game, you're probably okay with waiting a day. I really can't understand what's going on with the Denver Broncos. Did you watch the game last night? You guys watch some?
I did.
Okay, all right. I don't understand this coach. I don't understand how you went through the whole vetting process and this is who you came up with. I mean, I'm sure the guy, he's a fine guy. Maybe he's a good family man, goes to church on Sundays, opens the door for little old ladies. And I'm sure he's a great guy and probably a really fantastic assistant coach. But just when I think that this guy can't get any worse as a head coach, I watch that last night. So Russell Wilson comes out and looks like Russell Wilson in the first quarter. He's 10 out of 10. And in the rest of the game, he looks like Russell Westbrook. Hope Jeremy Hill didn't hear that. He's going to be mad. The Denver Broncos last night gained 258 yards in positive yardage and had 151 yards in penalties. How do you 151 yards in penalties? 60% of your positive yardage was offset by negative yardage. You have to try to be that bad. And even with a flag-happy crew that threw 9 penalties on the other guys, you got to try hard. I mean, I've done post-game shows for a long time, and you come into the post-game show, how could they do that? Might be a turnover, might be a penalty, might be a busted coverage, might be a crazy turnover. How did they, week after week, the Denver Broncos managed to do something that I'm like, wow, you guys are trying to do correct, right? So they brought in a grown-up a couple of weeks ago. I don't even know the guy's name, some old coach. Doesn't matter. They called him out of retirement because Nathaniel Hackett is incapable of getting plays in before the 40-second clock expires. Now, he's got a quarterback there that's been to 2 Super Bowls and won one of them, okay, that up until he landed in Denver was pacing towards the Hall of Fame. He's not doing himself any favors these days, but can't get a play in 40 seconds. So they bring in an adult to manage the clock because they just simply couldn't get the plays in on time. So they've improved, right, since they brought the grown-up in. Now they can get the plays in 40 seconds. They just can't get the right number of people on the field. Now, I told you that they had 151 yards in penalties, which is really hard to do. I mean, you got to try. Some poor defensive back, I don't need to remember his name because you know why? He ain't going to be he ain't going to be around much longer if he keeps playing like that. Had 4 pass interference penalties last night. 4. I've seen defensive backs go an entire career. Did Deion Sanders have 4 pass interference penalties against him in his life? Did Rod Woodson? Did Darrell Green? Did Darrell Revis? This guy had 4 in a game. But the penalties that totaled up to 151 yards did not include 2 plays last night where the Denver Broncos had 10 people on the field. Twice. We're talking about a coach. Okay, listen, I lived through Curly Hallman here, okay? I lived through some pretty ridiculous stuff. This guy can't get a playoff in 40 seconds and can't get the right amount of people on the field. There are volunteer parents out there who have children that want to play football at the 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old level, whatever it is, that don't know if a football is blown up or stuffed, but they go out and they coach, which is basically they're just, spending time with their kids. They're making sure that there's a grown-up on the practice field with the 7-year-olds and the 8-year-olds. And they know. It could have been music majors, okay? They know we need 11 every time. We have this amount of time to run a play or it's a penalty. But the head coach of the Denver Broncos doesn't quite get it. Mario, you're a prop player from time to time, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have Justin Herbert last night throw a touchdown pass? A lot of people did.
A lot of people did. I did not, but I know people are upset about it.
Well, see, this is where everybody believes that Vegas is run by witchcraft. And full disclosure, I've wondered myself, when a line's like a really goofy number and you go, how did they know? So Justin Herbert has thrown a touchdown pass in 36 of the last 37 games in which he has played in. He's really good. I mean, one of the bright young stars in the National Football League. The Los Angeles Chargers, see, I got it right. Los Angeles Chargers ran 83 offensive plays last night, and Justin Herbert did not throw a touchdown pass on any of those 83 plays, the way he had done in 36 of the previous 37 games. Mario, what did the odds go from to on Justin Herbert throw a touchdown pass last night?
So they went from minus 800 to even money. A lot of people jumped. A lot of people.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Justin Herbert is going to run 83 plays against a head coach that doesn't know he's supposed to have 11 guys on the field at a time. There's a pretty good chance that he's going to throw a touchdown pass. I mean, he's thrown a touchdown pass in 36 out of 37 games against coaches that know how many you're supposed to have on the field. Yep. You would figure that maybe one of the plays where they had 10, but yet Vegas runs this number from minus 800 to even money, mid-afternoon yesterday?
Like a little before the game.
And I understand that the prop market is not maybe as big as, the regular market for a side or a total or all of that. But people noticed. People jumped on it, got in there. It's like, surely Justin Herbert is going to throw a touchdown pass. What would the odds have been at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon if I tell you, hey, listen, here's the deal. Herbert's going to go from minus 800 to even. The Broncos are still coached by Nathaniel Hackett, and the game's going to overtime. I'm guaranteeing you 83 offensive plays. I mean, I'm going to withdraw money from accounts I haven't touched in years, right?
Yeah.
He didn't even come close. Did he throw a pass into the end zone last night? Other than, and the Hail Mary didn't even make it. The Hail Mary at the end of the first half, it came up 10 yards short because they were on the other side of the field. This is why some people go, Vegas, and they just shake their head. How did they know? Who knew what? This was one of the most ridiculous line shifts on a prop that I've ever seen. And they had it. They had it.
And when you contextualize a game like it unfolded, it's so crazy. I mean, Herbert attempted 57 passes. 57, according to ESPN Stats and Info. That's the most ever in a winning effort without a passing touchdown in NFL history.
And Vegas knew 6 hours in advance.
Insane.
You can't even predict that. I mean, what if he had thrown a 6-yard swing pass to Austin Eckler and Eckler had broken it for a touchdown? And how can they know? How can they shift something that bad right before the game and have it hit? Vegas, man. Sometimes I do think it's run a little bit by witchcraft. But anyway, that was painful last night. Once again, I have now subjected myself to multiple Denver Bronco games for the year. I'm going to try not to do that anymore. They've taken up their Thursday night quota. They ruined that game. This Monday night game, they ruined that game. Seen them ruin some games on Sunday afternoon. I'm going to try to eliminate the Denver Broncos from my life until they eliminate the coach. Sean Payton. You're Sean Payton. You look at this idea. Hey, do you have a quarterback? I mean, he used to be Russell Wilson. He was Russell Wilson not that long ago. I mean, Walmart's taking over the Broncos when the season's over. They're in the transition phase, I guess, right now. There's no way that Walmart wants to stay with this guy. Walmart's going to fire him. If you're Sean Payton, do you go to work for the new owners with the used-to-be Russell Wilson quarterback? The rest of the roster is supposed to be pretty good. Would he take that job? Check out and see how many draft picks Denver's got that they can send the Saints. I'll tell you if I endorse this or not. All right, Mike Scarborough when we come back. Dwayne Colucci at the bottom of the hour. The podcast is posted. Hanny Time 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge plus Apple and Spotify. This is Hanny Time 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Live music at Big Mike's this weekend, Friday night, beside ourselves. And on Thursday night, we have a nice old karaoke night. Saturday, LSU football at 2:30. DJ Clarence will be there. And, of course, on Sunday, you're still getting happy hour drink prices. It's all day on Sunday, even though the Saints are playing on Thursday night. So you watch the Saints on Thursday night, a little karaoke after. Going to be a fun party. You can make your whole football weekend about Big Mike's in Denham Springs. If you're going out to high school football and the games, of course, the games are on Friday night. You want to go late. The kitchen is open late. You can bring the whole family to Big Mike's. Couple of Halloween events coming up. The Halloween party on Saturday, October the 29th. You're going to have prizes plus Clarence the entertainer in the costume contest and their trunk or treat event for the kids and the whole family on Tuesday, October the 25th. Candy, prizes, music. You're going to do it in the parking lot. Lots of things for the entire family to enjoy. Big Mike's on Astor in Denham Springs. We're kind of a big deal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I am Juliet, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis. But I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in-store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shop a style.
Oh, yeah!
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Sean Salisbury stops by for his weekly visit. We'll talk SEC with Peter Burns. Join us for Tuesday's AFR, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bringing Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com. Mike, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, Charlie. How's it going?
Fantastic. So here's the number one question that I've gotten since the end of the LSU game on Saturday, which is what they did offensively, particularly what Jaden Daniels did offensively. Is it sustainable? Have they unlocked something here, or was this game more of a product of a porous Florida defense?
I've had the feeling before the Florida game that there probably was going to be a game like that. I'm not saying that I felt that Daniels was going to have a 3 rushing touchdown night and do everything that he did so fantastically. But I did say that I thought that, they would have a game like that and then look terrible the next week. My feeling is there's going to be a bit of a yo-yo deal here. But if somehow that is a sign of what's going to come, not necessarily that same performance or stat line, then I think LSU can very well meet expectations. You needed that game Saturday night to get where people thought that they should be with what Kelly inherited and what he's working with this season. And so I don't know what the moving of the Vegas line means. You would know better than me, but obviously Ole Miss is undefeated and one of your better teams in the nation. So, what do you say then if Jaden Daniels comes out Saturday and performs at a similar level and LSU wins that football game? What does it mean going forward? All of a sudden, do expectations go even further when most people had LSU in the 8-4 camp preseason?
Well, and a lot of people had him in the 7-5 camp, myself included, before the season. So,
I have admitted that I did fudge. I was 7-5, 8-4, and I went 8-4 just because I didn't want the grief.
Well, look, the roller coaster thing is interesting because that's what most of my podcast was about today, which is handling success. So let's talk about that for a minute. I can remember Jerry DiNardo talking about this after LSU beat Florida in 1997. Now, that was a much bigger win than this one, to be sure. But LSU's last 2 wins are against Auburn and Florida on the road, and they've never done that. And Ole Miss, it's not like they're 7-0 every year. Their win against Auburn last week, well, Auburn's down, sure, but Auburn has owned that series. They've won 18 of the last 23, and they had won 6 in a row. So it's a pretty big win for Ole Miss, even though Auburn is not as good as they usually are. So who handles success better this weekend, LSU or Ole Miss?
Well, I mean, look, what does it say about Ole Miss? They win 10 games last year. They're 7-0 now. I mean, they are exceeding expectations there. I mean, there's still some very tough games on their schedule, just like LSU left. But still, and the other part of that is that Brian Kelly kind of alluded to it last Monday. I think he kind of said similar things yesterday. You get the impression that he thinks his team is focused better and played better on the road than they have at home. So I think he's looking for a performance or focus at home like he's had on the road, even against Florida and Auburn, subpar teams in the league right now. So, and look, they just, after having such a great August injury-wise, to have some of the nicks and guys missing, I don't know when they're going to get Major Burns back and some of these other guys, but, that starts to add up too. And it adds up at a crucial time with a stretch of games and how tough these opponents are going to be.
Do you think that the home and away thing actually has more to do with it being home and away, or does it have more to do with the fact that Tennessee and Mississippi State are better than Auburn and Florida?
You're probably onto something there too.
I mean, I can say they didn't play as well at home, but they played Tennessee and Mississippi State, who I think are better than Florida and Auburn. So, they played better on the road. They didn't play teams that were as good either. If they had played Tennessee and Mississippi State on the road and Auburn and Florida at home, and then the thing might be reversed, right?
Exactly.
All right. So the thing that I was harping on yesterday, there seems to be more of a trust between Daniels and his receivers, between the coaching staff and the quarterback. It just seemed like things started to click. Not for nothing, but they also gave him, some check downs to get to, which we really hadn't seen before. It just seemed like he was a lot more comfortable. We saw a little bit of this in the Tennessee game, but I thought he looked a lot more comfortable. I thought he looked like he trusted more, and the receivers trusted him. And when you got in the second half, it looked like they were having fun for the first time, really, all year offensively. Like, hey, we're really starting to get it.
Well, in regardless of what happens this Saturday with an open date, does that get better coming out of the open date? So, yeah, I agree, and I think certainly it boosts the morale of the wide receiver room because while Kayshon Boutte wears it on his face and on his sleeve, the other receivers weren't very happy either. So for those guys to get involved and Boutte to go over 100 yards, it was very, very much a positive. And I don't know if Brian Kelly's having to go the extra mile to soothe Boutte each and every week. And I don't want to say coddle, but, just stay on top of him and don't let him get mired in whatever moods. Hopefully Boutte the rest of the way is what he's supposed to be.
Mike, at the beginning of the season, I was a little put off with him as well. After the Florida State game, it looked like, man, he just kind of mentally checked out a little bit in that game. And then, he skipped the New Mexico game. He had, his child was born, but he was born on Thursday and, didn't play in that game. But I got to tell you, over the last few weeks, I feel differently. He could have left. Okay, that's what happens now in college football. You don't like what's happening, you leave. He didn't. Okay, he's out there. He's playing hard. He is not having statistically the kind of season that he wanted to have for sure. but he's still here. He's still plugging away. And he had a big game on Saturday night. And there's 5 games left in this regular season where Kayshon Boutte can go right back to where people thought he was before the season if they're engaged offensively like this, don't you think?
Yeah, and really think about it. I mean, what is Kayshon, 20 years old?
Something like that, yeah, 2021.
Yeah, so think about, okay, he's coming off a knee injury. He's got a new quarterback, a new offense. His girlfriend is going to be delivering his child, and I don't know what the pregnancy was like or what the moods were like all the way up to delivery. Was there any complications? What were those phone calls like? Was there stress? Going to class? Think of all the things that he was juggling as a 20-year-old. And so, that probably contributed to it. A guy who's an All-American and considered to possibly be the number 1 wide receiver taken in next spring's draft, and not having the numbers to back that up. And so, and I also think, again, I know Brian Thomas, Dre, Malik, while those guys are talking personality guys, they don't wear it on their sleeve the way Boutte does. He can't hide his emotions. It's just, and people, some guys are like that and some aren't. And so, but I'm like you. Initially, it was a put off, and enough already. And is he a cancer on the team and all that? But then reflecting back, is it try to put yourself in his shoes, and maybe all what he was juggling is a 20-year-old.
Defensively, the big issue right now is big plays. That LSU has done a lot of good things defensively. They have made some progress, but the big plays, and Kelly said it yesterday, a lot of this is just poor tackling. And I don't know how you fix tackling this late in the season, but I don't think that they're as bad a tackling team as that they have showed on some of these plays. So when you look at this defense, you mentioned Major Burns, and I agree with you. I think that's a big deal. How do you see the evolution of this group, and can they tweak some things and prevent some of these big plays?
Well, and also, too, everybody's focused on that 81-yard run by Richardson, and, look at the size of that guy. And, that one sticks out. But I think the linebackers have played better. I think they're getting as much out of that group that was assembled and isn't what you're typically used to seeing as far as LSU DBU. And but I'm also like a lot of other people where I want to see more Harold Perkins in the linebacker rotation. I want to see more Savion Jones, and but I also think defensively, if you pull out the lopsided and humbling, humiliating score against Tennessee, is this team in the program and where you expect it to be, where you thought they'd be right now? Are they on schedule or whatever? And I think they are. So, I don't know, man. I mean, what do you say if LSU pulls an upset on Saturday? I mean,
it's not an upset anymore. They're favored.
Yeah.
So I think I
don't know what to make of that.
This is a really good spot for LSU. It is. I'm struggling to put into words exactly why it is, but coming off that win, Ole Miss at 7-0. Ole Miss has not played it. Think of it in horse racing terms. In LSU, you've got a horse that's not undefeated, but he's been running against prime competition. He's been running stakes races. The horse coming in is undefeated, but has been running in claiming races. This is an allowance race. This is a stakes race for these two teams. And the first time you step up in class, it doesn't always go as great. And I think you're going to have a packed house. You're going to have good weather. I like LSU spot this weekend. I really do. Mike, we're deep into the high school football season now. Tell me where you've been and where you're going. Some of the prospects you've been scouting.
Well, I've been wanting to see him for 18 months, and I finally got to see him Friday night again out at St. Martinville. the Southside Lafayette books whatever stadium they can get. So they played their home game hosting Sulphur on Friday night. So I got to see John David LaFleur, David LaFleur's son, who's already is a sophomore, 6'6", 240. And he's athletic. He can move. I don't know what his 40 time is. The quarterback has difficulty getting the ball to him. They're kind of a struggling offense. But you can see it. I'm anxious to see what he looks like at camp. Got to talk to David LaFleur and his wife and oldest son, and he has not been to any camps. He hasn't been to any of the combines or anything that the normal stuff you see in the spring. Not active in 7-on-7, and has also been battling a bunch of injuries. But you can see the workings there. Even some talk maybe is he a kid that at some point could maybe grow into a tackle. So he's certainly one to watch. I know one network's got him rated as a 4-star very early. I think that high 4-star. I think that might be a little high right now. But he's certainly one to watch, a legacy, and he says he's going to camp at LSU next summer.
Mike, we always appreciate the time. TigerBait.com. Thanks a bunch, and we'll see you on Saturday.
All right, Charlie, thank you.
We'll take a break. Dwayne Colucci from Las Vegas when we come back. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
Take advantage of that great weather and the early start to get out and tailgate this weekend for LSU and Ole Miss. And if you're cooking up with rice, make it supreme rice. Jambalaya, crawfish etouffee, red beans. Hey, is it cold enough for guys? Is it gumbo weather? Hey, look, as far as I'm concerned, I can eat gumbo when it's 80 degrees outside. Make it with supreme rice, whether it be the brown, the long grain, the medium grain, or the jasmine. Supreme rice is going to spice up your next meal, and you're going to be able to stretch your food dollar at the same time. So stop by your local Rouse's. We'll be at Rouse's for pregame. Pick up supreme rice. You can get it at all of your AG food stores, and know that all this time you're going to be supporting our Louisiana farmers. So make it supreme rice. More information and great recipes, some unique stuff. Go to supremerice.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for
me, Jimmy Out and Mike Delicano for the Tuesday edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're at Dozy Place on Government Street in the heart of Mid-City. Game Time presented by Bet Rivers, 6 to 8 p.m. on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Podcast is posted, the Hannycast, the biggest, we took a look back today at the biggest roller coaster month in the history of LSU football. The biggest. Down that hill. That's on the podcast today. Let's bring in Dwayne Colucci from Las Vegas. Oh, man. Hockey has started, but we're going to keep him on football today. Colucci, how you doing?
Doing good, Charlie. How you been, buddy?
Man, fantastic. I got to ask where the biggest – we had two primo games this past weekend, one in college and one in the pros, that I would imagine were at the top of the card. You had home underdogs, high-profile home underdogs in both of them. Alabama, Tennessee in the college ranks, Bills and the Chiefs in the NFL. So where does side money end up in both of those games with you guys at the South Point and the Rampart?
I'll tell you the truth, Charlie. We had a really good mix on both of those games. I would say we had, more Buffalo action, obviously, against the Chiefs. But the other game was a great two-way handle game. We did end up needing Tennessee, which worked out for us. Most of the week we were garnering great two-way action. Then all of a sudden the Alabama money came in late. And, even Chris Andrews corrected himself. He thought we were going to need Alabama in that game. But it never works out that way when you're dealing with the Crimson Tide as a bookmaker. It always seems that we're going against them, and especially since the Nick Saban era, Charlie. So, it worked out great. We had fabulous handle on both days. Actually, at my property, I believe it was the highest for college and pro this year so far, as in terms of action. And the book was just packed. I mean, it was really exciting, and a lot of celebrities was also cited at my Race It Sportsbook, so it was a good time.
Anybody you can share?
Oh, yeah, Brent Musburger, he was there, and Brent is a good friend of mine. I mean, I'm always, delighted when I see Brent and when he's in the Summerlin, Las Vegas area. Plus, we had an ESPN from your neck of the woods. Stanford Steve was hanging around Las Vegas. So it was a lot of fun, I'll tell you. And I think a lot had to do as well with the South Point 400, the big NASCAR race that we had. And South Point does a fabulous job, Michael Gaughan, of sponsoring that NASCAR race out at the Speedway. But tons of celebrities, tons of fans. Book was packed. The excitement during the Alabama-Tennessee game, hearing all the fans cheer, and the backing for Tennessee was there from the general public, but the larger bets were on Bama.
All right, let me make a prediction this week, and you tell me. I think the public is going to come in so strong on Alabama this week, and especially Alabama first half on the bounce back. As a line maker, do you take that into consideration? Or how much do you take that into consideration that, hey, the Tide don't lose two in a row very often?
Yeah, you definitely have to make the adjustments, Charlie, and especially with a team that, like I just spoke about, you have such massive handle on this team, Alabama, and especially in a bounce-back situation. Plus, like you said, you had in the mix, they're trending with the first half. I mean, we opened the game at 20.5. We are now sitting at 21, up a tick to the key number, 3 touchdowns. But this is a really, really good Mississippi State opponent that may be able to stay within the 3 touchdowns, but Alabama is just going to be so hungry. And we didn't put our first first half lines up. We'll put them up later in the week. But I know that Chris and his team will make adjustments over at the South Point. The Rampart is just going to be definitely perceptive to how much Alabama action we take. And most of the properties around town in Las Vegas are up to 21. Like I said, we opened it at the Rampart 20.5, up to 21. I'm sure that first half is going to be very significant as well. We'll have great handle in this matchup.
Dwayne, I'm getting a lot of questions about the LSU Ole Miss line. We saw it open a number of places at Ole Miss -2. It very quickly went to LSU -1.5. So once again, you've got an unranked team favored at home against a ranked team. We know about that scenario and how it usually favors the unranked team. I'm curious where you guys opened it, where it is now, and just tell me how much had to come in to move the line that significantly.
Yeah, we opened it at Pick'em at the Rampart. Now we have LSU at a 1.5-point favorite. And, a significant sharp money came in when we put that line up yesterday morning. So you're definitely seeing the adjustment. I think this is a good Mississippi team. I mean, you tell me, LSU has been a roller coaster ride this year. I definitely am surprised that the initial reaction was to bet LSU. We're going to see how this fabulous matchup plays out, though. The SEC always, Charlie, brings the best handle in the college football, ranks when you're dealing in Las Vegas. So these are great matchups, whether it's Alabama and State or LSU and Mississippi. I think these are exciting games. You see how the line is in this LSU game. But the initial sharp reaction was definitely to take LSU and back LSU here.
It may not be quite as good a card as last week, but we still do have 4 matchups of ranked teams. One of them is out on the West Coast, UCLA and Oregon. Another one is Texas and Oklahoma State. Any of these ranked matchups garnering significant action here early in the week?
Well, definitely, UCLA and Oregon, we're going to get some fabulous action, whether it's early in the week or late in the week. We opened that game at 6, and we're still sitting at 6 in that matchup. What was the second one you said, Charlie?
Texas and Oklahoma State. And I left out Kansas State and TCU. I should have said 5 matchups. It's actually 5 this week.
Right. Texas was sitting at 6 at the Rampart and South Point. That's what the opener was. So we're taking good two-way action on these games, like we just spoke about. And, definitely UCLA is a major attraction now just because of the way they've been playing early on in this season. And they definitely are going to have some significant handle, especially when playing Oregon, just because of our proximity of the country. So we didn't really move these games, those 2 that we spoke about just yet. We're getting good two-way action, a lot of teasers and parlays on both sides. But I believe there's going to be a significant push on UCLA later in the week. I think that they're going to be a focal point. You're talking about a 6-0 team, ranked 9th in the country, playing Oregon, who is 5-1, who is 10th in the country. Like you said, also you have State, Oklahoma State at 11, and Texas at 20. And you have the game is in Oklahoma, and they're getting 6 points. So, I think a lot of people are remembering Texas's thrashing of Oklahoma, and I think they feel that they could possibly do that to State on the road as well. So I think Texas will get a big push late as well, but not significant action right now.
Thursday Night Football is our New Orleans Saints at Arizona, 2 teams that disappointing opens to the season, both of them sitting there at 2-4, and the Saints are a mash unit right now. Arizona's a slight favorite in this one. I'm looking at 1.5. You tell me, and what you think about the Thursday night game with New Orleans and Arizona.
Yeah, we opened it at 1, and now it's at 1.5, Charlie. I mean, total is opener was at 45. It's holding fast at 45. These seem to be 2 teams that are going in the wrong direction, if you ask me. I don't know what's up with Kyler Murray. I know they did pick up now the wide receiver from Carolina who's disgruntled, so that just adds more parity to the mix. You're already missing Hopkins. Your Saints, definitely, they're like a triage unit. You never know who's going to be out there, who's going to be healthy. So that plays into the factor in the line making, and that was a big game that they blew. They were leading most of that game this weekend, and then it came apart late. So, this is a hard game to handicap, not a game that I feel will have significant handle. These Thursday night games have been so horrible, Charlie. I know Amazon is definitely kicking themselves. They don't know what to expect. They've been, just nasty games, and this just adds to the mix. Definitely, I think we're going to see some action late, maybe on the Saints, but two teams going in the wrong direction, like I said.
One of them's got to win, and Hopkins is supposed to be back for this game for Arizona. So we'll see what kind of game shape he's in. Dwayne, before we let you go, NBA opens tonight. I was reading this morning that this is the most spread out preseason of any NBA season in the last 40 years. In other words, there is no clear-cut favorite. The Warriors, the Celtics, the Clippers are all right there close to the top, and you got another handful of teams, including the Bucks, that are just a notch below that. But as wide open as it is, has that increased the hand a little bit on some of the NBA futures? That starts tonight?
Yeah, definitely. You have everybody taking a chance basically now because, like you said, you have so many teams that are close, especially in the Eastern Conference. You have Milwaukee, you have the 76ers, Nets, Heat, so many fabulous teams. And on the West Coast, can Golden State duplicate what they did last year? I mean, I know they signed Poole. He's definitely happy despite getting punched in the face by Draymond. We know that Golden State is going to bring it. They're well coached. The Lakers, can they stay healthy? Can LeBron and Davis stay on the court? Can Westbrook and Beverly coexist? What will Kawhi bring to the table for the Clippers? That's another question mark. It's definitely going to be an exciting season, and you have so many different opinions that, people are throwing out there. So it does increase handle, and you always have that strong Laker handle in Las Vegas, despite how good or how bad the public is going to gamble on the status of their roster. New coach Darvingham, definitely, I think that's an upgrade, and I think that they will rally around him. It's just, will Westbrook stay in check, and how long will he be on the team before they could shop him? So the Lakers definitely have a chance, but the Western Conference is wide open. Denver is going to be there. If Murray could get to where he was later in the season, and they have Jokic, he's a monster. Dallas is definitely going to be there. Luke is one of the best players in the NBA. So the West is wide open, and the East is wide open, Charlie. So it's great. We're getting handled across the board, and no significant, massive favorite at the Rampart.
We root against the Lakers around here, Dwayne. The Pelicans have got all of their picks for the foreseeable future. We root against the Lakers around here. Hey, you got a hockey pick?
You got Zion.
Yeah, that's right. Zion's playing tomorrow night. Hey, you got a hockey pick tonight? Your 3-0 Golden Knights are a dog at Calgary tonight. Any interest?
Yeah, definitely. The Golden Knights have been playing really well, and, so far the Golden tandem has been holding up. You see in Vancouver tonight, a 115 favorite on the road. They just faltered late last night against Washington. I would come back with Vancouver. A lot of upsets last night. Charlie, you've seen a 5-1 underdog actually win straight up in Arizona, and Montreal was a significant underdog, and they won straight up. So it's been a difficult NHL season thus far. Vegas now is sitting at, Calgary is minus 155 at my shop at the Rampart in South Point. Total 6 over minus 120. Calgary's pretty solid. I think they're going to bring an offensive barrage and possibly end the Knights' winning streak tonight. So I would look at that as well. And now also the Kings have been playing very good. Keep your eye on that. They're definitely a good team. And, despite their early woes in the first two games, keep your eye on the LA Kings. But I think the Knights lose tonight. I would bet Calgary. Also, I would take a shot coming back with Vancouver, even though it's a back-to-back in Columbus. Those are my two selections.
All right. Kaluch, as always, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you Thursday night on Jimmy Ott's Game Time.
I appreciate it, Charlie. Looking forward to it. Thanks.
We'll take a break, come back with some of your questions out of the chat. This is Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hanny Time.
There's a reason I'm buying my vehicles from Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. The service goes without saying. The family-type atmosphere, the transparency, and the pricing is going to be a pleasant experience, your car buying deal. Now, get into the Acura and Infinity pre-owned lot. The certified pre-owned vehicles come with a lot of specific benefits. 6 years unlimited mileage warranties, complimentary first-year basic maintenance, free 3-month trial subscription to Sirius satellite radio, emergency roadside assistance, particularly if you've got older or younger drivers. This is a very, very important. Complimentary service vehicle is my favorite because it means that you don't have to arrange for transportation if you drop your vehicle off, and you don't have to sit and wait for it to be serviced. It's all part of the benefits at Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
Professional golfers John Peterson and JJ Colleen answer all your golf and life questions inside the new Drop Biscuit Studios podcast for the people. Download or subscribe today at dropbiscuit.com.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 60 months on new 2022 Ford F-150s. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's
on Wednesday's OTB. What does the eye in the sky say about Ole Miss? Plus, flock up, Pelicans opening day. OTB, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
Failure happens to us all, but it's our champions.
This is Hanny Time with Charles Hanagriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here on Hang Time, the ask us in the chat. As Charles, I still like Kansas getting 9 against Oklahoma, even though they lost. What do I think? I think that if you waited and you got Kansas plus 10 on Saturday, the chalk early, dogs late theory, that you were probably fortunate to get a push. Kansas is a lot more resilient than I thought. I've liked them since the very beginning of the season, but so much of that was tied to Jalen Daniels. And when I watched them play in the game against Iowa State and win a game 14-11. Now, I know Iowa State missed some field goals in that game, but then that proved to me that they could win a game more than one way. And then when they lost Daniels and Jason Bean came in, and by the way, Jason Bean, the backup quarterback, is the fastest guy on the Kansas team. That kind of blew my mind when I found that out. But he had started 15 games in his career, and he went out there and played well. All of that being said, I never felt like, and Kansas was one of my picks, I never felt like I was on the right side while I was watching that game. I felt fortunate that it came in as close as it did. It looked like Oklahoma was just one possession ahead the whole day. I didn't think it was a bad play, and it came very close. And like I said, if you got it on Saturday, you might have pushed. But I never felt watching that game that I was on the right side. Thoughts on Mike Leach? Look, entertaining. He's good for college football. He's a better coach probably than he's given credit for because he's so quirky. It's easy to focus on the other stuff. Is he ever going to be a championship level coach? Probably not. I don't see one of the Blue Bloods going after him, and it would be hard to win a title at Mississippi State. Now, that being said, he will do better at that job than most people. What do you call it? Wins above replacement. We use that in baseball. Mike Leach in Starkville is probably one of your best wins above replacement guys. If you can win in Lubbock, if you can win at Washington State, if you can win there, my goodness, you can win in Starkville. I mean, they're all kind of similar jobs, right? So, good for him. Welcome to Pullman. Now you get to Pullman, you got to fly through Moscow, Idaho. Hunt Hill is next. This has been Hanny Time, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.